For today's project, I will be working with 3 N-Scale SD9s by Atlas. These 3 SD9s are part of the Atlas 2023 model line with the E24 connector. At the time of this recording, the only decoder option for basic DCC is the ESU 59925 Loc Pilot 5 Nano with the Interface 24 connector. Due to the product quality and poor operating characteristics, this is not my first choice for decoders, but it is my only option at this time. I do like to test the operation of my locomotives before I disassemble them and attempt to install a decoder, so I verify with the 9-volt battery that they run forward and backwards as well as the LEDs come on. This is a quick and easy test to make sure your engine functions correctly before you take the time and install a decoder. It provides knowledge that you have a functioning locomotive before you start. Next, I'll be separating the shell from the motor drive mechanisms for all 3 engines, but I find the shells are harder than normal to remove. So I end up using a lot more force to pull, tug, and pry the shells off of the drive mechanism. After a little bit of extra effort, I was able to remove all the shells. The jumper plug is held in place with the foam pad. This foam pad has glue on both sides, making it a little harder to remove. I end up using a set of tweezers to see if I can pull the jumper board off from the motherboard. But the tweezers did not work as well. I ended up using just a simple jeweler's screwdriver. It surprises me how well the double-sided foam holds those jumper plugs in place. I do a lot more prying to get the little plug off than I expected. I know this looks a lot harder than it really is. I'm not sure why I'm having the problems that I'm having, but trust me, this is really easy to do. I have one more to go, and this one popped right off. Well, that wasn't that hard to do. On to the next part. Finally, we're at the point of pulling the decoder out of the box. I'm rather disappointed in the amount of instructions supplied. Pause the video and read it yourself. Not sure if I'll need it, but I'm getting my roll of Kapton tape. Being the first decoder install of this type, I'm doing a little bit more inspection than normal, just to make sure that I get it right the first time. The decoder doesn't look like anything special. I don't see any concerns on it that might cause an electrical short between it and the chassis. But let me look here a little closer. Nope, I don't see any real contact issues, but I'm still going to use a little bit of Kapton tape to protect the decoder. It's always fun to find the edge of Kapton tape to get the roll started. After a quick cut, I'm going to use this little strip and cover the decoder with some Kapton tape, much like covering a baby with a blanket. Quick fold over on both sides, and I should be good to go. I do run across a problem trying to snap the decoder into the bottom of the motherboard. Yes, I wear magnification glasses. It's just an awkward situation to get that decoder board to plug into the motherboard on the mechanism. Adding a little bit of light to the problem to see what I can do about this. And I'm going to try another tool, a little plastic wedge, and see if I can push that plug together. Still no joy on this. I just cannot get that plug to snap together with the motherboard. But sometimes in the end, it's the most simple solutions that fix the problems. I'm just going to unscrew the motherboard. Problem solved. Ta-da! Now that the motherboard is free, I can spin it around here and take a closer look at that E24 plug. And snap it into place. There it goes. Like everything else, the very first one is always the hardest. A quick functionality check, and it moves backwards and forward, so I've got it in there correctly. Installing decoder number 2. Let's see if I can apply anything I learned from installing the first decoder and improve what I've done before on the second locomotive. Step 1. I better unscrew the motherboard. That made the whole installation much easier. 2 screws is all it takes. Roll back the motherboard, grab the decoder, add a little Kapton tape to it. Again, the hardest part is finding the start of the roll. Cut. Add the tape to protect the electrical components. And if you don't have your own roll of Kapton tape, check down in the description below. I'll have a link to all the tools that I use in this video. Snap the decoder into place. And test it. forward, backward, so it's installed. The final decoder. Again, once you've done one, figured out what you're doing, second one's a little bit easier. Just gets simpler every time, other than getting the Kapton tape off the roll. I need to get some sort of dispenser for the tape. Fold it over and protect it from short. Snap the decoder into place and test. That forward, backward, just getting quicker every time. Time to reassemble the motherboard back to the chassis. Something I didn't think about. Might have a little harder time doing this than I anticipate. Got the screw lined up and look at that. Look at that. Even I can install a screw. Handling the small screws is not as hard as you think. Tweezers or grabbers of some sort help a lot. Get a better grip on that screw. Line it up and slam it into place. At this point, it's getting pretty quick. Figured out what I'm doing. Grab a screw, line it up, and slam it into place. If I had about a dozen of these to work on, I should be real quick in the end. Two down, one more to go. Just like before, grab a screw, line it up, and slam it into place. And that should be it. Just a quick snug check. And I'm done. Clean up the workbench a little bit, put away a couple tools. And do one final test.